Hey everybody, so Karine Jean-Pierre, who we recently discussed as the first
Black gay immigrant woman.
White House press secretary.
No one cares.
That's right, still don't care, because not everything is a Jackie Robinson moment, no matter how much you try to shoehorn it in. You see, Jackie Robinson was great. He could not be denied. But as we recently saw, when asked a very predictable question from Peter Doocy, Jean-Pierre was not particularly great at thinking on her black gay immigrant female feet. In fact, she became the first black gay immigrant female train wreck of a press secretary.
How does raising taxes on corporations reduce inflation?
Look, we have talked about this past year about making sure that the wealthiest among us are paying their fair share,
and that is important to do, and that is something that the president has been working on every day when we talk about inflation and lowering costs. And so it's very important that as we're seeing costs rise, as we're talking about how to build an America that's.
You don't have the faintest idea what you're talking about.
Yes, I realize this is her first day. It's not her fault that Biden's handlers are trying to make economic nonsense sound plausible. But hey, she should be used to that because that's what being a leftist is all about. The bottom line is she's just, not good. But that has nothing to do with her skin color, her gender, her sexual orientation, or her immigration status. Incompetence is colorblind. And if you want to see super incompetence, just look at our current white male president. And to be fair, her first day is far better than anything Kamala's done on any day. At least she's not cackling. So Elon Musk buying Twitter is still unresolved. According to Musk and pretty much anyone with common sense, there's a lot of non-human activity going on with Twitter. Musk wants free speech for all people, and Twitter wants free speech for all robots. And some people. Shockingly, half of Biden's followers are robots, but I'm sure those robots identify as real. Only a qualified biologist can tell us for sure about these things.
I'm not a biologist.
We learned, or more like confirmed through Project Veritas, that Twitter is loaded not just with left-leaning people, but left-lunging people.
Twitter does not ruin Facebook. We're all like communists.
If you ever saw Jack Dorsey and Vijay Gotti, Twitter's Trust and Safety and Legal Counsel, along with Tim Pool on Joe Rogan's podcast, then you know perfectly well that Twitter's a rigged game.
Your platform restricts speech.
Our platform promotes speech unless people violate our rules.
Our rules, right. But when Tim Pool specifically demonstrated how these rules favor a political agenda, he got this.
I can say a whole bunch of things that would never be considered a rule break, but that one is, which is ideologically driven.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback.
That look and attitude says it all. The look that says, we'll take it under advisement.
So you take this under advisement, jerkweed.
That look is why conservative people are frustrated beyond belief. You can have round and round of gaslighting, you can win point after point, but the best you're going to get is a begrudging nod and a look of condescension with a slight admission that you're not crazy, but it is the way it is and it ain't changing. Is it any wonder that she was reported to be openly weeping when discussing Musk buying Twitter?
We're all like communists.
So monkeypox is upon us. The preliminary things I've heard is that it's linked to gay sex at bathhouses. I'm assuming this is going to be like COVID, like the lab leak theory. Whether it came from a gay bathhouse or not, we're going to have to say it came from a wet market, which ironically sounds like a nickname for a gay bathhouse. I will say sincerely, if this is a threat to the homosexual community, I hope they find a cure fast. And I certainly hope that gays aren't attacked. Straight, gay, whatever about the disease, I don't care. But I will say I certainly hope that Bill Gates and Fauci get it. A scorching case of incurable chronic hemorrhoidal monkeypox.
But now is the time to do what you're told.
There's a lot of people who are speculating that monkeypox might be used to mess with the election, to avoid in-person voting again. My solution for election integrity is this. Just put the ballot drop boxes at a gas station. Believe me, the votes will be legit. Re-forward, everybody. I need your help. So subscribe, like, hit the bell, comment. Thank you. When can someone say that something is creepy or insane or both without it being considered an act of hate? The more you see Democrats or activists in particular, the more exposure you get to creepy or insane or both. Like here.
What do you say a woman is?
I believe that everyone can identify for themselves.
Okay. Do you believe then that men can become pregnant and have abortions?
Yes.
Do you have any idea how crazy you are?
Let me get this straight. This is the party of science? Yeah, no, it's the party of psych ward.
Quite ferocious, it's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie, little lie. It's how you hide a little lie, little lie.
Hey, that was some good news. 1984, the musical's on pause. Nina, or Weird Al Yankovic, with her deranged and insanely tyrannical song parodies, is out. Scary Poppins, as she's been nicknamed. Funny, isn't it, how she picked Mary Poppins songs? Since Mary Poppins is the world's most famous nanny? Yeah, it's all fear-mongering from the right about that whole nanny state thing.
Can't put me finger on what lies in store. I feel what's to happen. All happened before.
Yes, Dick Van Dyke, with your awful accent. Government policing of information has happened before. Everybody weeping for Ukraine, I'm sorry. Compared to this, communism, the death tolls and atrocities in Ukraine are a blip. It's a speck. It is literally nothing compared to the communist evil. So government control of information is a really bad step.
We're all like communists.
Especially since Nina's own ruling party has engaged in disinformation itself. Very recent disinformation that only now is being looked at since the election is long past.
Joe Biden denied his son profited off a China connection.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China.
The president's son and his company brought in about $11 million between 2013 and 2018, including some years in which his father was vice president, working as an attorney, a board member to a Ukrainian gas company accused of bribing a prosecutor, and for a joint venture involving a Chinese businessman now accused of fraud.
Great journalism, NBC. We knew this in October of 2020. Looking forward to next year when NBC uncovers the new revelations that Hunter might not be the virtuoso artist we were led to believe he was.
But wait! There's more!
There is more. Hillary's own campaign manager, Robbie Mook, and I hope he has a good life insurance policy, admitted that Hillary herself knowingly pushed out disinformation, all to implicate Trump of treason.
4 things you need to know about the Trump Organization's secret server to communicate with Russia's Alpha Bank.
No one described the dangers of government control of information quite like George Orwell, but Rand Paul did a pretty good job of it recently.
We can't even agree. We can't even agree what disinformation is. You can't even agree that it was disinformation, that the Russians fed information to the Steele dossier. If you can't agree to that, how are we ever going to come to an agreement on what is disinformation so you can police it on social media? Love it. Do you know who the greatest propagator of disinformation in the history of the world is? The U.S. government. Are you familiar with McNamara, the Pentagon Papers? Are you familiar with George W. Bush and the weapons of mass destruction? Are you familiar with Iran-Contra? I mean, think of all the debates and disputes we've had over the last 50 years in our country. We work them out by debating them. We don't work them out by the government being the arbiter. I don't want you guardrails. I want you to have nothing to do with speech.
Correct. Everything about this is scary. The terrifying part is that Scary Poppins, this laughable extreme loon, has gotten so close to actually being the curator of truth. This close. It's not some fringy thing off to the side so that the right can scaremonger people. If there was a little bit more political appetite, if the atmosphere was a little bit different, she'd be in.
I want to be rich, famous, and powerful.
It's not just about her. It is horrifying regardless of which party's in charge. Just imagine if there was no pause and this thing goes through. You could make a forensic case about all their gaslighting, all the disinformation, and you'd still end up with that same condescending look of, thanks for your feedback. Only now picture it's not Twitter. It's the Department of Homeland Security. Thanks for your feedback. You're under arrest. Thanks for watching. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Be sure to pass around to anybody who might like my content. And I'll see you the next time.